I love talking about the psychology of how people use your website, how they think and how they interpret things right on your website. Because here's the thing, if you're trying to sell digital products or a paid newsletter, or if you're trying to grow a membership from your website, then your website really isn't just a page on the internet, it's a conversation between you and them. Right? So if you ignore how people think, you risk losing them before they even realize what you have to offer. So there are three timeless psychological laws that I've used for years that make websites just work way better. And I'm going to walk you through each one of those. So the first law is called Hick's law. This one's all about choice overload, right? People often refer to it as the paradox of choice or choice paradox. So when people are faced with too many options, they tend to freeze, right? They hesitate or they leave. They leave your website without doing anything. So your job as a website creator is to reduce that friction. That means fewer pricing plans, simpler navigation, one clear call to action. The less thinking really someone has to do on your website, the faster they're going to be able to move through your website and sign up for things. So the second law I want to tell you about is called the law of visual hierarchy. Now, the brain doesn't read like a book, it scans, right? So when someone first sees your website, the biggest shapes on the page tends to help them interpret everything that comes next. So your most important message needs to be big, bold, and positioned where the eyes naturally land. And the second most important thing should be a little smaller, and so on. Essentially, you're guiding the eyes from biggest thing on the page to the smallest thing on the page, so guide wisely. Now, the laws of visual hierarchy really help guide your users' information, and it makes it not leave it up to chance. So the third law is called the law of proximity. This one's more about spacing, right? So the brain groups things that are close together. So if your layout is cramped or your sections blend into one another, people will struggle to understand what belongs with what. So I often say that spacing is probably and arguably the most important design aspect of your entire website. So get spacing right. Now, these laws aren't about being clever or flashy. They're about just respecting the psychology of how people think when they land on your website. When you start using them, you reduce choices, you guide the eye, and you really clean up the layout. And you're going to notice that your website just feels better. Visitors will stay longer, more people take action, and you're not going to need some fancy redesign to make all this happen. So after this, take a few minutes today, scan your website, and then apply those three laws: Hick's law, the law of visual hierarchy, and the law of proximity.